YouTube? This is Garrett DJ Deuce with another pickups video for you guys. This video is going to cover 1 week's worth of pickups. Pretty strange week as far as weather. Pretty sunny Monday through Friday, and then I was planning all my yard sales. You know, I'm going to hit this, hit that, hit the flea market Saturday and today. Unfortunately, on Saturday, it was real overcast. A lot of people that were going to hold yard sales postponed their yard sales. And the flea markets, the flea market was pretty dead yesterday, and today was a complete wash. I mean, yesterday there was about 15 sellers, found a couple of things. I found a pretty decent lot there, which led to a bigger lot, and I'll get into details later on in the video. But today was just a complete wash. I mean, there were 15 sellers there, but pretty much nothing to find, and it was raining a little bit too when I went out there. I went out there late at about 10 o'clock. Let's get started with the pickups throughout the week. So an OfferUp ad popped up which contained like a bunch of Xbox One titles and one Wii U title. This guy wanted $30 each game, so I hit him up and I asked him if he would take $20 for this one in particular. He countered with $25 and he stayed at $25. But still, it's a pretty good deal for this game, so I'm very anxious to play it. Heard some really good reviews on it, and it is Super Mario Maker. And this is actually brand new. The seal on the top is broken, but the game inside is still sealed. I am going to open it because I do intend to try to create some of my own levels and see how I do. So, Super Mario Maker for 25 bucks. Next up, an OfferUp ad popped up for something that was 5 bucks. By the time I contacted the woman said, yes, it's still available, but bidding is up to 20 bucks. And so I was a little confused because I was like, OfferUp's not eBay. So I didn't want to argue with her or go back and forth with her on this whole thing. So I just told her I'm willing to pay the $20, which is the highest offer that you received. So she was like, okay, cool. So I was like, okay. Took early lunch and went down there, grabbed the stuff. Pretty decent lot for 20 bucks. The system that came with this lot, she said didn't work. So the games pretty much make up for what I paid. So for 20 bucks, I got a cool looking Game Boy case. Never seen this before. I've seen the ones for Nintendo, so I've never seen one for the Game Boy. And it came with an original Game Boy. And she said this system didn't work. It wouldn't fire up even with batteries. So maybe the batteries that she used were dead. I don't know. I'll give it a shot to see if it works. But still a pretty decent deal for 20 bucks. It came with Battletoads in there. And a ton of games. So I'm not going to pull these out of their respective cases, so I'll just go over them quickly. We got Tetris, Baseball, Super Mario Land, The Amazing Spider-Man, what is this? Skate or Die Bad and Rad, DuckTales, Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles Fall of the Foot Clan, Paperboy, Double Dragon 2, and finally, Fortified Zone. Never heard of this game. So all that for 20 bucks. Another OfferUp ad popped up for a pretty obscure game, original Game Boy game. The guy wanted 10 bucks, picked it up. It is Castlevania Legends. Never seen this before. So definitely keeping this in my collection. And that's a pretty good price for 10 bucks because I think it's like I think it's like a $35 game. All right, did a trade with Tara. Actually, this is not a trade. This is a purchase. She had a couple things on OfferUp. I hit her up and said, hey, I want these 2 items. So she gave them to me both for half of retail combined. So for 15 bucks, I got a copy of Harvest Moon 3D, The Tale of Two Towns for the 3DS, and a complete in box Space Invaders for the Super Nintendo. So each of these games are like 15 a piece, so she essentially gave me a deal, half of retail. So very happy with that. Alright, so did a trade with a local video game store, traded in a bunch of commons and a few decent titles, and got a couple of titles from that store. So I picked up Snowboard Kids 1 and 2. I had these a long time ago, gave these up, so very glad to regain these. I think the only game I need to regain is Harvest Moon 64. Also got a complete in box Jurassic Park. and it came with the box protector. It's complete, cart is mint, it's got all the inserts. Very happy to add this to the Super Nintendo collection. Next up, I went to Independent Records and found a Dreamcast game, WWF Royal Rumble, and it was on sale for $1.98. From that same Independent Records, I picked up a Game Shark, and this is for the Game Boy Advance or Game Boy, and I paid 99 cents for that. Listed this on eBay and got an offer for 40 bucks, so this is pretty much already sold. So, pretty decent return on that. Went to a Goodwill and picked up a loose UMD game for the PSP. This is Bomberman Land, and I paid $4.99 for that. An indoor flea market had one booth at an indoor flea market had a 40% off sale. I bought a bunch of games. These are the only 2 games that I kept. So these are $2 a piece, but with the 40% discount, it was $1.20. So we've got the Dukes of Hazzard Racing for Home and Namco Museum Volume 1. It is missing the back artwork. Alright, these are from Craigslist. A woman posted a bunch of DS games for sale. I cherry-picked 2, and it is Deer Drive and Trackmania DS, which is an Atlas title. So these are both complete. Went to Game Source and picked up 3 Sega Dreamcast games, I picked up Sega Sports Tennis 2K2 for $1.99, Arrow Wings for $4.99, and Test Drive 6 for $4.99. At an ARC, picked up 2 original Xbox games. I picked up Death Row for $4.99 and Star Wars Republic Commando for $3.99. Those are going into the collection. Earlier Friday, after I got off work pretty early, and so I was dropping something off at a friend's house in an area called like Stetson Hills, and I saw a sign for a yard sale that was open till 5, and so I swung by, and they were still open. So I checked it out. There was a toy box full of Pokemon toys, so I pulled out a bunch of little figurines. I'm not going to show you all those. And I also pulled out these cool little Pokeballs. They're like mini play sets or something. They pop open like that. So there were 2 of them. And so the toys were like 50 cents or whatever. So I started making a pile of a lot of stuff. And so there were some other games there too. So I started pulling some titles out of there as well and just kind of adding into my stack. So those games were Sonic Ultimate Genesis Collection, Sonic Generations, Poke Park 1 and 2, Wario Land Shake It, Kirby's Epic Yarn, Super Mario Galaxy, and Pikmin. So I had all this in a pile with the toys, and the parents' kid said, "Hey, I think my brother or whatever has more toys." So the mom was like, "Okay, go look for them." And so I was like, "Cool, yeah, I'd definitely be interested in some more Pokemon toys." So she went inside the house, and then she took about maybe 3 minutes. I was just kind of looking at other things. And then she came out and said, "You know what? He doesn't have any more toys, but he has a bunch of DS games." And so I was like, "Cool, I'll take them all." And she was like, "Okay." So we bundled everything together, and I paid a total of $40 for everything, which is insane. So the games that she pulled out were pretty much all Pokemon games. We've got Pokemon Platinum version, Pokemon White. There's 2 mystery games. One of them is Yoshi's Island DS, and the other one was Pokemon Diamond. So here's another Pokemon Diamond, Pokemon Black, and there should be another Black in here. Another copy of Pokemon Black, Pokemon Black version 2, Pokemon Mystery Dungeon Blue Rescue Team. We've got Pokemon Ranger Guardian Signs, and finally Pokemon Soul Silver and Sapphire. So all that for 40 bucks. Really, really good deal. That was just crazy timing. Saturday morning, I did a couple of laps with my nephew and his friend. It was pretty dead, so I didn't think I was going to find anything. And then all of a sudden, I spotted a guy taking out a box that had some PS2 games on the top and a bunch of other like random CDs and looked like other games. So I said, hey, can I see all that stuff? So he was like, yeah. So he was like, I was looking through the box. There was a bunch of PS2 titles in there, PS1 titles. There was a P90X set in there. It was a PS2 Slim in there, and I was like, you know, how much would you take for everything? And he was like, you know what? I'm not going to take less than $30. So I handed him $30 right away. And then I asked him if he had any more video game stuff, and he was like, you know what? I think we have a Super Nintendo with about 20 plus games, but it's at the house. So if you want to leave your number, you know, maybe we can meet up later on after the flea market, you know, because it was looking like it was going to rain. They said they were going to probably stick around for like another hour and a half, 2 hours, and then just call it a day. So I was like, yeah, here's my number. He got my number as well. So the $30, you know, the $30 lot that I got from him was a slim PS2 with a stack of games this high. One of them was Def Jam Fight for New York. Pictures of all that whole lot will be at the end of the video. It was well worth the $30. I mean, the Def Jam Fight for New York was, you know, more than paid for the lot. And there were a bunch of Crash Bandicoot titles in there. I think there was a Spyro title in there. A bunch of other like common PS2 titles, but still for $30, couldn't complain. The only things I kept out of that lot was the P90X, and it's got all the discs. I'm going to put this on eBay as soon as I check the disc conditions. There's a bunch of discs in here, so I just want to make sure they're not all scratched. But I can sell this for $30, $40 all day. I also kept the Lunar Omaki box, and it's got all the little cool little things in there. This is for the Lunar 2 video game, and it also came with a soundtrack. Alright, one PS1 title I kept, which is Dragonheart Fire and Steel. It's missing the front manual, but of course it's got the back art. So that's the stuff that I kept out of that lot. I also checked out some other vendor who had a bunch of PS3 games. They were all sports, but they were pretty expensive. He wanted like $4 a piece, and I was like, no, that's too expensive for sports. But he did have one game that caught my eye, and it's actually a handheld system from 1981 that I had as a child, and when I saw it, I immediately recognized it, and I was just tripping out. So I paid $10 for this, and it's Galaxian 2. This is made by Entech. Does not have the battery back, but still, I mean, once I saw this, it was like flashback. I was like, man, I remember having this game. It's like a head-to-head. You play head-to-head, basically. Player 1, player 2, and you face it this way. And it's not head-to-head. You have the high score. If you die, then the other person gets a chance. So this was a really, really fun game back in the days. And I don't even know if it works. Even if it works or not, it's just still cool to have something from my childhood in my collection. After that, I met up with a woman who had a PSP lot on OfferUp. She wanted $100 for a PSP plus a bunch of games and movies. And then I asked her if she was firm on it. She said yes. So finally, after 2 days of negotiation, I asked her if she would just part with the games. I don't care about the movies. So, you know, we got everything pretty much dropped down to $35. So for $35, I got, I'm not sure what this is. I think this is Gran Turismo, Michael Jackson The Experience, Midnight Club LA Remix, Blitz Overtime, Burnout Takedown, and finally Jak and Daxter. So before you guys call me crazy for spending $35 on that, we're not done. So we've got Legends of Heroes 2 and 3. This does not have the manual. This is complete. Also got Dissidia Final Fantasy, complete. Kingdom Hearts Birth by Sleep, which is complete. Knights in the Nightmare, complete. Hexy's Force, which is also complete. And finally, a sealed copy of Mortal Kombat Unchained. Took my nephews out to eat, got a text message from the guy saying, we're staying at the flea market, it's starting to get a little more busier, so my wife, well, my girlfriend is going to be home, so just, here's her number, text her when you get there, she'll show you the stuff, and then, you know, we'll figure out the prices. So when I got there, the Super Nintendo lot was, you know, well worth whatever they were going to throw an offer at me, as long as it was a pretty decent price. And they also had a Sega Genesis with a bunch of games. So I asked the woman how much for the Super Nintendo lot. She said, well, my husband wants $50 for that part, and then all the other stuff he wanted $20 for. So I was like, no problem. And it was well worth the $70 spent. So this came with all the cords and controllers. I'm just not going to show them. But for 20 bucks, I got a Sega Genesis Model 2. Bunch of games. We got Abrams Battle Tanks. We've got Super Monaco GP, Sonic 3, Sports Talk Baseball, Marble Madness, and finally, The Adventures of Batman and Robin. So that was well worth the 20 bucks. But wait till you see the Super Nintendo lot. Actually, it also came with Resident Evil 2 for the PlayStation 1, just disc only, and a copy of Rumble Roses XX for the Xbox 360. So the bundle, the $50 bundle, came with the system, all the cords and controllers, a mouse, and 2 controllers and all the hookups. But it actually came with, let's see, 5, 10, 15, 18, 19, 20, 21, 23 games total. 2 games are not in the lot because I'm going to save those for a trade that's in my car right now. So it was Super Mario Kart and Star Fox. So I'm going to trade a guy those 2 games plus maybe one more game for 2 Game & Watches. I'm huge on Game & Watches. I love those things. So hopefully that trade will go through. Alright, so the games we got are Bluey, Mario Paint, Art of Fighting, Mortal Kombat, Street Fighter 2 Turbo, Ken Griffey Jr.'s Winning Run, Kirby's Avalanche, Metal Combat, Gradius 3, Super Caesar's Palace, Super Mario World, Winter Olympic Games, Super Battleship, Family Feud, Excalibur 2097, X-Zone, Demolition Man, now the good titles, The Lost Vikings, got Turtles in Time, Zombies Ate My Neighbors, and finally, Ghoul Patrol. I didn't even know this was like a rare game. I just heard from somebody that this is a sequel to Zombies Ate My Neighbors. But apparently this game is like 90 to like 150 bucks or something. But this looks like a really, really fun game to play. So I'm going to give it a shot, especially since it's a sequel to Zombies Ate My Neighbors, which is a really, really fun game too. So $50 for that bundle. We went back to the flea market because the weather started clearing up, so we figured, we ate, got this huge, this really good Super Nintendo lot and the other lot. Why don't we go see if, we can keep the momentum going? So we went back to the flea market, and there was one seller that sold a bunch of toys, and he was just unloading some more things out of a trailer. And so I started making a pile together, and I paid $20 for the entire pile. So for 20 bucks, I got an original X-Wing, Y-Wing, excuse me, an original Y-Wing. It's missing the canopy and like a little R2 unit, and a few more things in the back here, like the engines. But still, for 20 bucks for everything that I paid for, well worth it. I also got an empty case for Die Hard Trilogy 2. Got a complete Final Fantasy IX. This is complete. It's got the discs and the book and everything. It's in pretty good shape. I got a Marvel Universe Rogue figurine, which is pretty cool. Got Psylocke. I got Irvine Caneas from Final Fantasy VIII on the mint on card. Well, not mint on card, but in the original packaging. Metal Gear Solid figurine. Alright, got a Kagome from Inuyasha. Pretty cool. And we've got a Pokemon character, a original old school Transformers from the 80s, and finally a Ninja Turtle. The last piece of the lot was this Chrono Trigger manual. So I don't think I have this. I might or might not have it. I know Retro Rat wants this, so hopefully this is a double. If not, sorry, I'm going to keep it. But Chrono Trigger manual. Very happy with that purchase. And the last item I want to cover, or items I want to cover, come from Retro Rat. So he had a pickup picture posted in the Facebook channel, and there were a couple of items that I wanted. I'm still waiting to pay for a bunch of other stuff that he's holding for me, and I have a bunch of stuff to ship over to him as well, because we do trade in cash, or we do trades or cash or both. Here's what I got from him. I got a sealed copy of SOCOM U.S. Navy SEALs for the PS2, factory sealed. I have this, but not sealed, and I'm a sucker for anything PS1 and PS2. So he gave me a good deal on this too, and he gave me a good deal on this as well. This is just the box, but it is a variant for the Super Nintendo Super Set. Variant being the sticker, where it's Super Mario All-Stars, 4 Mario games in one. So it is just the box, the styrofoam, the instruction manuals for the game, and all the baggies. The only flaw is this end. This doesn't have the outer flap. But still, for the price that I paid for it, he hooked it up. I was very happy to get that from him. That is pretty much all the pickups that I got for this week. Just really, really sucked that a lot of yard sales that I planned to go to were canceled because of the rain, but that's just the way it goes when you hunt and live in Colorado, unfortunately. So anyways, if you liked the video, give it a thumbs up. If you have any questions, leave a comment below, and if you haven't already done so, please subscribe if you want to see some more videos. Other than that, I hope you guys are killing it out there. Hope you guys are finding some good stuff. Happy hunting. Peace.